Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. Today is the 15th of April, and this is going to be a video where we look at the energies around the coming week and what it brings in for the months to follow. Because we have a total solar eclipse, and we also have a new moon in Aries, and we also have the start of Taurus season on the 20th of April as well. And those of you that are very regular followers to my channel will note that I've put up one of my favourite paintings that is from the Archangel Metatron Oracle deck that I did with Jane Delaford Taylor. And that's the original painting. And I think if there was a fire in the house, those two paintings in particular, as well as obviously the one of Jesus, who's just temporarily gone over there, but he'll be back soon, they would be the ones that I would have to just grab. As well as Bella, of course, and the kids and myself. But yes, it is there for a reason, and it's because there are so many videos out there, aren't there? Many of them very, very good, which are focusing rightfully on the new moon in Aries and all of that fiery energy. And I've been reading things about clashes to Pluto and transformation and rebirth, all of which is true. But I think the world is almost crazy enough at the moment, and I'm actually feeling as though I particularly am being drawn to the Taurus energy, the start of Taurus season, which just happens to make up the trilogy, basically, of these three events that are going to be happening next week. New moon in Aries, total solar eclipse, and the start of Taurus season as well. I've known a few Taurians in my time. In fact, I gave birth to one, and I just think they're some of my favourite people, actually. So shout out to the Taureans that watch me. We shouldn't have our favourites, of course. I love you all, whatever star sign you are. But there's just something about Taurus, particularly in these days that we're in, which is so needed. And I like the fact it's in that mix, as I say, with all this fiery new moon energy and eclipse energy as well. Taurians always strike me as, I've probably said this before, salt of the earth, down-to-earth people that keep us stable. And on a short little video that I put up on Instagram and Facebook yesterday, I was talking about the need for balance during these days. Physical balance within ourselves, emotional balance, spiritual balance, mental balance. But just, with all of this rocky, fiery energy and transformative energy, which has to happen, we can't push it down. We do somehow need to maintain our equilibrium and our balance throughout, and also retain our sanity, of course. So, yeah, I'm going to be exploring all of these energies, I think, in today's video. I'm going to be using various decks of cards. I will be pulling probably a couple of my healing sprays to help us. I think predominantly we're going to be working with the energy of Metatron, of course, who is my main guide. The element of fire. So those of you that have my sprays, the fire elemental, the Archangel Sandalphon Bronze Earth Star spray, which is the anchor. And I think we all really need to be looking at our anchor right now, the roots that we have underneath us, and to make sure that we're not too swayed by all of these different energies at play at the moment, that we're well rooted. And also I'm going to bring in the energy of the violet dragon as well. But that's all to come. I would actually like to start this session with a poem. You know me, I like my poetry. And this is one from the Wee Moon 2023 diary, which I think I had last year. I have to say I actually got 3 astrological diaries this year, because it's almost as though they all give something different. It's not a problem, but the thing with this one is that it's written particularly for the American market. So if you're in America, it's brilliant, but the times are a little bit out if you're in Europe and the UK. But anyway, that's all by the by. I want to read you this poem. It's very, very short. And to me, it just speaks to my heart, my soul. It brings a soothing quality to this week that we've had, which seems to have been quite argumentative and destructive, is the word Metatron is saying. Okay. And the poem is called Aching to Connect. Aching to Connect. as the plane goes overhead. You ready? It's only 3 verses. It's by a lady called Susa Silva Marie, copyrighted to her in 2021. And it's in the Wee Moon Diary for this year. Aching to connect. Just let these words really sink into your bones, sink into your soul, truly hear them. In the depths of a global trance of fear, we ache to connect. We create a sanity circle, asking ourselves, what reality do I wish to broadcast, broadcast, broadcast? We depathologize our language. We lift each other to a vision beyond polarities. We optimize our self-talk. We hear each other declare, I am part of making a global consciousness of love. Aching to connect. We remedy the fear. We release it, breathing it out, not once, but every single time it rises. With our presence together, we make the space for change. And it's also got this beautiful painting by Suzanne Grace Mitchell and the violet ray. So those of you that have got this particular diary for this year, sink into those words again. They're beautiful. They spoke to me this morning. Right, let's get straight into it, guys. Let's get straight into it. I'm going to start with some cards today. And let's go with this deck first. This is the Becoming Dragon deck that I've featured a few times on my channel. One of you created it and sent it to me. I'll put the link below. And what it does is it breaks down 2 different aspects, dualistic aspects for us to look at. Let's see what energies we are grappling with pre-eclipse. Okay, so pre-eclipse. What qualities are we grappling with? And 2 have come out. And they're very, very appropriate. The first is, I'm going to put them in this order. This feels like what the week's been like. Annoyance and understanding or misunderstanding. A lot of annoyance with each other, a lot of annoyance within relationships, a lot of annoyance within the world. Think about your life, your relationships, your connections. Have you been feeling particularly frustrated, triggered, annoyed? And it could be something as simple as just your partner snoring. It could be something much deeper. But we also have the energy of understanding. So there is an annoyance right now because we can't quite understand what is going on. Maybe within our own lives, maybe within our own path, also very much so within the wider world. Can it get any crazier than it already is? And the truth is, I'm afraid, yes, it can and it will. Because what is coming, and we know this, how many times have we talked about these qualities? You can't have rebirth unless you have the energy of death. The old ways are falling away for the new to come in. And this solar eclipse, the clash with Pluto, the new moon in Aries, it's all bringing about this maelstrom of confusion, annoyance, triggering, arguing. And ultimately, what strikes me is that it's poisonous. That reminds me very much of the symbol for poison. That energy of not being at one with each other, not being able to understand each other, brings about quite a toxic mess. And this is collective, it's what's going on at the moment. And we have to face it. So yes, I know there are various videos at the moment out there which will be really, focusing on this aspect of the poison that basically needs to come out of ourselves. It's definitely a time for detoxing. You might have been drawn to that already. I am doing my bit like you should be doing your bit. I'm not drinking at the moment, for example. I'm not going to say I've given it up because I do like my wine, but the more regular drinking I've stopped and I feel better for it. And the interesting thing about it was that it was really easy. I mean, I wasn't addicted to anything, but you know, I enjoyed it. It was a pattern. It was a regular thing that I liked to do. It was my little thing, reward at the end of the day or the end of the week. And it's as though the desire for it just went. You might be feeling that as well. It doesn't have to be drink. It could be anything. It could be anything that's toxic or poisonous to the body or the mind. It can also be people. There is a clearing out in our circles, whether that's in social media, whether that's in the people that you actually go down the pub with or the bar with, the people that you socialise with. I think we're becoming very aware of toxic energies and the need to purge those. Yesterday, I did some saging in the room. Mark Bieski had sent me some ages ago, and I did it because it had been a bit of a tough week. And if you've watched Mark's videos, he always talks about, you know, if it really flares up, the sage, when you're burning it, is a sign that there's a lot of negativity. And I'm glad to say it didn't flare up, so it wasn't much. But what I did do, and I don't know if I've got it to show you, is I have a earthenware bowl. It's downstairs by the fire, actually. I've got an earthenware bowl. I think I've shown it to you before. It's not like a bowl that you put your cereal in. It's heavy duty, won't catch fire, won't burst because you've got flames inside it. It's made for purpose. I think I bought it at Glastonbury from Star Child. There's a shop called Star Child in Glastonbury. I think that's where I got it from. Anyway, why I'm telling you this is when I finished saging the room and the desk, I thought, okay, well, I'll sage myself now. And I got the earthenware bowl, and I'm a big one for convenience, okay? And it can take a while to do yourself because it's like every part of you. So what I was drawn to do was I put my feet over the smoking bowl. Does that make sense? Because of course all of the organs in your body, it's reflexology, isn't it? There's a part of your body that is reflected in each part of the sole of your foot. So I basically smoked my feet. And it really worked. I could really feel it just sort of like coursing up through the organs and, you know, cellular structure of the body. So I did that. That was just my little detox. I've also done a bath with Himalayan salt or Epsom salts, whatever it is that you like to bath in. More than anything, it's the intention of trying to detox. I also woke up to the words today because I knew I was going to be doing this video, that we need to be eating lightly this week. That does not mean go on a diet. That does not mean, unless you want to, that's not what I'm saying. It doesn't mean go on some sort of starvation diet or only be eating lettuce leaves. No, just to eat lightly, okay? Because if you think about this natural detox energy that is in the air at the moment because of this eclipse and new moon in Aries and the Pluto energy as well, it's as though we're just helping it along. That's all we're doing. We're helping ourselves along, and we're helping the energy move in and move out. It's already in. We already have toxic energy within us. All of us do, because you and I and everybody on this planet has a shadow side. So it's just about bringing it up, releasing it with love, and having a good old clearance. So we can do that for ourselves, but also it's going to be happening in the collective. It may also be that Mother Earth has a bit of a purge this week as well. So if she does, she does. We can't stop that, because if she needs to do it, she will. But ultimately, it's all about the energy of rebirth that wants to come in and getting rid of the poisons and the toxins. I mean, it's obviously very clear that particularly in USA at the moment, there just seems to be one chemical disaster after another, and I will try and read on that at some point, but it's quite hard to know even where to start. But I do send my love to anybody that's beside these places where there are these chemical fires or derailments that are happening. I did look at the big derailment in a video, or I don't know, a few months ago now, and I talked about that. But I believe there was also one in Minneapolis, wasn't there, recently? And it almost seems to be happening more and more frequently. So again, maybe that is drawing our attention to toxic, poisonous waste that we have in our world. We have it in our world. So how do we get rid of it? And how do we dispose of it safely? And if that means we have to pay more money to dispose of it safely, that's what we're going to have to do as a world. So lots of things coming up with all of that as well. But equally, are we being poisoned is what I'm hearing. Are we being poisoned? Let me go to Metatron with regards to that. I know it's a bit heavy, but let's just get into it. Can't avoid it with this video. So are we being poisoned? Okay, so it's interesting because before I sprayed, I was thinking of the obvious things such as, I don't know, fluoride in the water, which can affect the pineal gland. We know that there are many toxins in the, I think I read something terrible in the paper yesterday, which was about the rivers in this country, for example. I think it was saying something like vast majority of the rivers are contaminated with toxins. And even though I like sea swimming, for example, I live very near the sea and I'm about to probably start it again and it won't stop me. But the truth is that the seas, to a degree, are polluted. You know, sewage is put into the sea occasionally or frequently. And it's like, do you want to be swimming around in that? All of this is stuff that we don't really want to look at. We want to ignore it. But ultimately, there does need to be a clean-up. So that's what I was thinking before I sprayed. When I sprayed, what Metatron was also reminding me of is our poisonous thoughts. And I have to say, some of the poison that's been directed at me this week, and I don't want to get into the whole thing again about all of that, but it's really very demoralizing in terms of the spiritual community. And I've asked Metatron for guidance in terms of where we go with it. And he's just saying to me a step at a time. And we have to start with ourselves. We always have to start with ourselves rather than projecting it onto somebody else that they've done this or they've said this to me or whatever. We have to start with our own poison. And you have it, I have it, we all have it. So I would like you to meditate on that, the word poison. And I'd like you to think about what is poisonous to you. And I have to say, because Metatron's saying it in my ear, I'm hearing social media is a poison as well at the moment. It's a poison. It can also be a medicine. And I guess this comes into discernment, doesn't it? But I think it's very healthy to have digital breaks from social media. It's actually, what I'm hearing is it's imperative. It's imperative to get out in nature to correct that imbalance. Because when you get out into nature or you get out into your community, you're able to ground again. One thing that Metatron said to me a while ago, and I know I'm talking to you on social media, which is why I'm saying it can be a blessing and a curse, because we can build up a very positive community as well, but it can also be poisonous. He reminded me that the internet is actually very young. I mean, God, I'm old enough to remember the days before the internet. There was no internet, there was no mobile phone. Was life more peaceful? Yes, I think it was. And the interesting thing was, I said that to my girls the other day, and I was really surprised. They both straight away said, yeah, I bet it was. So, but we can't go back. The wheel has turned. The internet to some degree is always going to be here. Social media, even if it evolves and changes, is going to be here to some degree. You're going to be party to it to a bit or a lot. But yeah, Metatron reminded me about the youth, not even the immaturity, just how young it is. And it's like anything. If you think about wisdom, some of the great books that have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years or a hell of a lot longer, some of the ancient scripts, but also just really good books, they've stood the test of time. They're still here in our society and our culture for a reason. And it's because they contain great wisdom. They have the energy of wisdom. And although there is wisdom on the internet and on social media, it's a very young energy. And I'm not talking about the people that are on it, I'm talking about the actual energy of something like the internet. It's young. And so therefore there's a growing up that needs to take place upon it as well. And I think those of us that are quite old souls, and I class myself as one of those, I'm just hearing hang in there, okay? Just hang in there. We're here for a reason. And I'd like to now bring in the energy of Taurus again, because again, being around Taureans at this time can be very comforting. You know, that ground, it's really funny, because Taurus is the sign of the bull, right? And I was thinking about this earlier, and I was saying to Metatron, yeah, you know, Taurus, I'm really feeling that energy, because I just feel like we all need that grounding energy and that down-to-earth energy. And you know what he said to me? He said, yeah, the thing is with a bull, you know where you are with a bull. I mean, you do. You know where you are with a bull. You know if you go into that field wearing all red, for example, it's going to charge at you. You know there are certain things, you have to behave in a certain way around a bull. You know where you are with a bull. But there just seems to be a lot of the other out there at the moment. There's a lot of BS to wade through. So anyway, I'm deviating, but these are the first two cards that we've pulled. Right, let's see where we're going to go now. I feel as though I would like to bring in an animal energy at this point before we do any other cards. And also I'm going to pull a card from the Angel and Ancestors deck. But let's do the animals first. I'm also feeling, today I was really feeling as though I wanted to draw energy from other countries as well. So rather than doing a reading on, for example, Australia or Canada, I was feeling as though I needed to bring in the energy of a country to this reading. And the country's energy I wanted to bring in is Australia. And one of you sent me, let me just grab this, some beautiful crystals from Australia. And I will do a reading on Australia in a bit, but I think, again, it's just this ancient, I don't know, there's just something so, look at these beautiful crystals somebody sent me. Can you see those? Can you see the colours? The earthiness of them? I've got a piece of paper somewhere which tells me what they all are, but of course, I don't think it's to hand. Nah, it's not to hand. That would be too organised for me. But yeah, I'm just craving these earthy colours at the moment because there's just so much hot air out there that we just need to come back and land, particularly this week where it's just going to get even more inflated, even more heated, even more poisonous. Because the truth is, my friends, a lot of people are not going to want to look at their own poison. They're not. They're not going to want to look at what is toxic within their own behaviour. They're going to want to point out what is toxic in everybody else's behaviour, what is poisonous in everyone else. And change starts from within. Change starts with us as individuals. So I completely applaud and I'm so grateful for those of you that are doing this work with me. So let's ground this week. So let's bring in, so we've got the qualities of all these beautiful earthy energies, the jaspers, the agates, carnelian, the browns, the fossil energies as well, the energy of fossil. It's a good week to maybe go and, I mean, I live near the Jurassic coast here in Dorset. Maybe it is a week to actually go and walk upon the Jurassic coast because we remember our heritage, we remember our history, we remember where we came from. There is a thing in the world at the moment which is like wanting to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and it's so dangerous because there's so much that's still good in our history, in our heritage, in our ancestry. And not everything is poisonous and toxic. Much is beautiful. It's a bit like a gardener an inexperienced gardener like myself, who would and has done before, gone into my garden thinking I've done a great job of clearing it up. You know, I've taken down all that dead wood. And then somebody like my father, who's very experienced as a gardener, said, "Oh my God, what have you done? You shouldn't have done that. You've killed it." You know, unintentionally. It's like you've pruned it far too much. Eventually it will come back, but you get my gist. Right, let's bring an animal energy in. Also, it's a week to definitely be with the animals. And I have to say today, I'm not trying to be too controversial, but I suspect most people will be in agreement with me here. In the UK today, there is the Grand National. It's a big horse race. It's the biggest steeplechase, I think they call it, in the world. Every single year, there are horses that are killed that go over those huge, great big, whatever they call them, jumps. And that's because that's what makes the race exciting and difficult and a challenge. And my heart goes out to those horses. So I hope that none pass today, but they probably will. But cancel, clear, delete that thought. So cancel, clear, delete that thought. Cancel, clear, delete that thought. Protecting the horses. I believe there's going to be a huge protest today. Anyway. I just had to say that as we're tuning into the animal kingdom. Let's see what animal wants to come forward today for us in this crazy old week ahead. Yes, I know you want to come forward. I'm talking to the dragon here. I've got the dragon, but let's just see what else. Do the dragon in a moment. Okay. Right. 2 have just come through. Every time I use this deck, which is the Stephen Farmer deck, I always get the polar bear. It's almost like every time it's the polar bear, but there's another card that's come as well. But let's firstly just look at the polar bear. It says, stand up for yourself and speak your truth respectfully and compassionately with no attachment to outcome. Funny, I was watching another Jordan Peterson podcast this morning as I was putting my makeup on, and he was talking about this very point, which is that how important it is to stand up for yourself. Because standing up for yourself is a sign of self-care. It's a sign of self-love, which is why I'm hot on boundaries, because to me, boundaries are part of self-love. I won't be talked to in a certain way. I won't put up with abuse. I won't put up with being targeted by trolls. For me, it's self-love. So, yeah, the polar bear is coming through and ramming home that message. Also the thing about speaking our truth respectfully and compassionately with no attachment to outcome. I think that's very true as well, that we can state an opinion on something or we can hold a position on something. But we are not in control always of the outcome. So I've just given an opinion, which is my right, it's my channel, that I am against the Grand National. I don't like the race. I don't think it should be happening. I feel it every year. It's about money and all the rest of it. And there's always a horse that dies. So I've said that. I've stated my opinion. I'm standing up for that. But I have actually very little control in terms of what will happen today. But it's still important to say it, okay? Or whatever it is that you believe in. So that's the first one, polar bear. The second card that comes out couldn't be more different. So we have the big mighty polar bear, and then we have the weasel. The weasel. Pop goes the weasel. That was an old children's rhyme, wasn't it? It says, be silent, pay attention, and simply observe with your eyes, ears, and physical feelings what is happening inside and all around you. Yeah. One of my, I would like to say friends on social media, Eleanor from Holistic Eleanor, I think she's called, on YouTube. Let me just find her YouTube channel. She did a short little video this week about this very subject. The difference between observation and judgment. Yeah, she's called Holistic. Oh, she's just called Holistic. Many of you probably follow her. I hope to have a chat with her one day. But anyway, yeah, so that's worth a listen. It's only 1.5 minutes long. She just put up a little short. In fact, she's done 2 about the difference between judgment versus observation. And again, with all of this toxic mess that is arising in the collective, more and more that's being revealed, more and more that's being uncovered, and also in your own life, being able to see the truth maybe of people that you've had in your life for some time, but actually their behaviour is toxic, they're not there for you, they don't actually really care, all of that type of stuff. I know it's difficult, but trying not to go straight away into judgment and condemnation, but to observe. The weasel is coming through. It's saying, be silent, pay attention, and observe with your eyes, ears, and physical feelings. Now, let me just read. Oh, gosh, I said, let me just read a bit deeper about this card because I felt I needed to, and I've literally opened it at the page Weasel. So this is obviously an important message. This is Stephen Farmer's deck, by the way. So it says, take a deep breath. So that's the second message we've had today about taking a breath. Detox. Remember, we detox through our breath as well. You can breathe in, and you breathe in peace, you breathe in clarity, you breathe in love, and you breathe out the judgment. You breathe out that first knee-jerk response, which can sometimes be hateful or aggressive and not in alignment with your higher self. That is always the voice of love. It's always the voice of reason, and it's the voice of your higher self always wants cooperation and unity with each other, because it wants to have a unification within itself. So it seeks it outside itself as well. So take a deep breath and release it slowly, then another and another. So this would be a very good practice this week ahead, to breathe and count for 10. And I think when we've had moments where we haven't done that, we realise the damage it can do. So let's learn from our mistakes. We've all made them. Breathe and count to 10. Take a deep breath and release it slowly. Then take another and another. And it says continue to breathe steadily and slowly from your belly to your chest. Breathing this way will keep you attuned to what you feel in your body. Notice the sensations without judging or trying to change them. Be aware of how your body responds to what you see, hear, and feel. Don't judge any of your experiences as right or wrong. If you find that you're doing so, take another deep breath. Release the judgments as you exhale and return to simply observing your experience inside and out. So let's just do it together now. Let's just take a deep breath in and then out and become aware of however we're feeling in this particular moment, without judging it, just simply observing it. So take a deep breath into your body and out. Take a deep breath into your body and out. It's definitely a week for observing the inner state, observing your inner state, observing your own thoughts rather than somebody else's. Inner observation is what Metatron is saying. And it says, when you practice this way of observing, you're operating from pure awareness, or the witness self, the self that radiates through and fills your being. It's the self that feels a deep connection with the world as a participant, while at the same time is centered as the observer. It helps to bring in a realization of the unity of all life. Yeah. So the weasel of all creatures is bringing in the awareness of breath, meditation, observance, and non-judgment this week with the polar bear to help us. Okay, so there we have our animal friends helping us. I feel as though the dragon is bouncing up and down. If dragons do such a thing, this one is. This is the violet dragon. I can't remember whether I've shown you this or not before on screen. Purple and red. It's our latest spray, and it's called, I decided to call it a Master Clearance and Dragon I can't read, it's because I've got my lenses in, and a Danger Defense Spray. Because this is the thing, this week literally should be danger, danger, danger. Now, that doesn't mean that there's anything terrible's going to happen. In fact, yeah, it is this week. Of course it's this week. This week in the UK, I did allude to this last week, we're going to have on St. George's Day, the emergency broadcast alarm on everybody's alarm is going to go off. Now, John said to me, he said, well, is this just a text message that comes through? I don't think it is. I think it literally is like a siren sound that comes out of your phone. We'll soon find out, won't we? Unless we've turned it off, of course. But the point about it is, I mentioned this in a video last time, and a lot of you are saying, oh yes, we have that in other countries and it's to raise awareness if a child's gone missing or something. I don't think that's the purpose of it here. It feels as though the energy of it coming in is more about, I just have the energy of they're wanting to frighten us. It's a fear tactic. That's what it feels like. It's as though it's bringing subconsciously into people's awareness nuclear alerts, and I believe there was a nuclear alert. The sirens went off in Japan this week of an incoming nuclear threat. It was a false alarm, of course, thank God. And of course there are heightened tensions. But it's a really difficult one, guys. All I'm trying to say is here in the UK, it's very different. And do we actually need an emergency broadcast on everybody's mobile phone? Are they even going to know what it is? Or maybe it's linked into some sort of climate catastrophe that's about to happen. It feels as though it's fear-based here. So, yeah, we've got that coming in this week. So how did I get to that? Because we're talking about the danger defense. Right, let's see what this violet dragon wants to say about all this. Because the purpose of this spray and this energy, this violet dragon is coming in to try and clear the path for us, to clear the path of any danger. So in a way, this is your alert system, okay? And it also teaches you to be alert. Because the truth is, God forbid, if something terrible were to happen, say there was going to be, I don't know, an earthquake or volcano or something like that, if you're actually in tune with the universe and you're in tune with Mother Nature, you'll know about it long before some government broadcast comes in, because you'll have seen the behaviour of the animals. You'll have noticed what is happening out there in nature, right outside your window or your door. You'll be able to sense it in the air. But the dragon helps us to refine these senses. So I do feel as though this is coming in with quite an important job. But, those are the big things, of course, which hopefully we don't have to grapple with every day or at all. But it can also be the smaller dangers that are lurking. I don't know, maybe you've got to go out at night and you're walking home alone and you're feeling uncomfortable about that. I know in some countries a woman wouldn't do that, but in the UK we tend to, maybe not in inner cities always, but that type of thing, just trying to help clear any dangers or anything that's lurking out there. Right, let's just see what the violet dragon has to say for this week ahead. It's interesting that I'm swirling it above my head like that. I don't usually do that, but that's what I'm feeling I want to do. It feels almost like quite Merlin-like, because Merlin and the dragon, it's almost like brewing up a concoction of positivity and good luck and goodwill and safety, and bringing that down through the body, spiraling it down through the body, taking it down through the body, through the cellular system, through the chakras, down into the feet, allowing that now to come out into your aura, that I am safe, that all is well, that there is no danger, the danger has been cleared. It's almost like the energy of the one that goes in to see if there's any landmines out there that you're about to step on. Landmine, again, not necessarily being a physical thing in your street, but we can tread on landmines of a different sort. We can get ourselves into hot spots or danger spots without us even knowing. So it's as though the dragon helps us to see more clearly, to carve the path before us. It feels very much as though it integrates with our energy as well. It's really quite interesting. Okay, let's get to some cards now for shall I do it? I'm wondering whether to do it differently, the moon and the eclipse, or just to do it all together. It's all sort of together, isn't it, really? But let's just pull one of these before we do that, actually. This is what is this? Angels and Ancestors deck by Carl Gray. Let's just see what's around us this week. What other energies are around us? We've got the animal energies. We've got the dragon, the weasel, the polar bear. We've got the earth energies. What else? Anything else that's coming in to help us or serve us this week? The crow. I think it's meant to be the crow or the raven anyway. Well, autumn. So this is particularly obviously relevant for Australia, New Zealand, that part of the world. You're going into your autumn, aren't you? But it's true for all of us. Take the season out of it. This is about release the old and rest. Yeah, you see, the thing is, when we're releasing all of this toxicity and poisons, and maybe we're detoxing ourselves, but equally we're just trying to, it's like a spring clean or an autumn clean. We just need to be having a good old clearance. That takes a lot of energy. So you might be feeling tired this week. I feel as though there will be a tiredness this week. And it's important to rest, because releasing the old to bring in the new takes energy and time, and you need to make time for rest. So yeah, we've also got the energy of the bird, the crow, the raven. I was wanting to see what was on the bottom of the deck, and it's the heart guardian. Love and let yourself be loved. But I think more than anything, this is about protect your heart space this week. Protect your heart space. I was feeling that this week already, which is that those of us of pure heart, which is most of you that are watching me, particularly my people that come back time and time again and who get what I'm about and my energy, we're trying to live from our heart. We have an open heart. It can sometimes be abused or misunderstood, and we need to guard this. I was feeling as though there was a clarion call going out this week for the Essene community that I know I used to be part of. And it was a reminder of the times where we've been judged before or we've been misunderstood before. And it's always been that it's actually our heart that's got us into trouble, which is that to be able to see goodness and light in all situations isn't always welcomed by a world that has eyes that can be closed to it. And you just got to stay in your heart, my friends. You've just got to stay in your heart. The world will always judge those that try to spread light and goodness. And if you haven't experienced that yet on your spiritual path, at some point you will. And it's always about initiation. It's always about tests. And sometimes we need the tests to make us stronger. We need the tests to show us or remind us who we are, what we're about, what we came here to do. Did we come here to give up, or did we come here to get back on the horse again? We came here to get back on the horse again. Okay, so look after your heart this week. There's going to be a lot of, as I say, these are the two cards, annoyance. Because the truth is, a lot of people don't want to change. There's a big portion of the collective that they might not be happy with the way the world is, but it's still comfort zone. It's like it's what I know. I know this way. I don't know what New Earth is. What the hell's that? I don't know what unity is. What the hell's that? How on earth's that ever going to come in? I don't know that, so I'm going to mistrust it. I'm going to stay with the devil that I know. Better the devil you know. It's that type of energy. And so many people will resist this rebirth process. And it's like, I'm back to the bull now, but it's the bull that locks horns and will not give in. This is the other energy with Taurus. It can be very stubborn. I'm going to lock horns with you. I'm not going to give in. But eventually something has to give, and it will. As I say, something has to give and it will. I just feel I want to pull one more card from this deck. Something has to give and it will. Something has to give and it will. Got the animals again. Animal guardian, trust your instincts. Watch the animals this week. The animals are going to be big teachers this week. Animals instinctively know when something is wrong. Animals instinctively know, for example, when somebody is often unwell and they'll go and sit with them, or they know that something is up with Mother Earth. They know. They have a deep knowing. They have instincts. We need to get into that instinctive energy where it's almost like we can sniff it out, we can smell it out, we can taste it out, we can see with X-ray vision, we can hear. You might be finding there's upgrades going on with your senses, your sense of taste, your hearing, your eyesight. I actually had a couple of days this week where literally, as bonkers as it sounds, I felt like I was back on the mountain because I had like altitude. You know when you're in a plane and your ears are popping and it's like, I'm so high, I just need to try and bring myself. I couldn't. You know, you do that thing, you blow your nose to try and relieve the pressure. I couldn't. And Metatron said, no, it's because you're going higher. You need to get used to this altitude. Many of us are going higher, but we're using our instincts to get there. Others can't see where we're going, but we've got to keep going. We've got to keep climbing. Okay? Right. So we've done the dragon. I feel as though I would like to embrace the fire element now in all its glory. Let's just bring this one in. Fire. See if we get anything with this. Fire. Aries new moon. Fire. That was me throwing the smoky quartz by accident. Before I say what I've got in my head, I just want to confirm it with a card, if you don't mind. Aries new moon. Right. There's some fear around this week. And we have the 7 of Swords, deception, denials, lies, manipulation, poison, toxic behaviour. But we have a lot of strength. We have a lot of strength to be able to deal with it. And we can walk away from it. Because I was hearing damp squib. I don't know whether that translates very well, which is like a hyped up expectation. Oh my God, something's going to happen, all of this. And it's like, I mean, maybe it will, but it's as though those of us that have switched off the drama button, whatever the lies, the toxicity, the poison, anything that's out there, it's like we walk away from it. We're strong. It doesn't touch us. It doesn't have to touch us. Yeah, Page of Cups doesn't have to touch us. Hermit doesn't have to touch us. The dramas of this coming week do not have to touch us. If we stay strong, we stay aligned, we observe, we go within, we look at ourselves rather than everybody else. And I tell you what, those of us that are able to do that, we're going to shift. We're going to shift. You're going to get to a different altitude. You're going to get the popping ears, my friends. Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm going to pull last cards from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reid. Any other messages that want to come through, please, for this coming week? Show me any other themes that are coming up with new moon in Aries, total solar eclipse. Any other themes that are coming up? Come to the edge. Come to the edge. Rebirth. Come to the edge, he said, we are afraid, they said. Come to the edge, he said, we are afraid, they said. Come to the edge, he pushed them and they flew. As the helicopter goes over my house. what does that mean? What about if... What does that mean? Look at this. Because this is the thing. When we say go to the edge, people always think, oh my God, what's about to happen? And what am I being expected to do? And I've got to do this and that. And what about if come to the edge was actually just about carrying on? Hi, sorry, my camera got too hot, so it just shut down. I need a new camera. But the point is, it's probably perfectly articulated what I was just trying to say, that there's just too much heat out there next week, okay? Lots of headless chicken energy again. It's almost like we can't avoid that if we're going to have the rebirth, which is to come. So it's an important week, and it's not just about the week, it's about what the eclipse brings in over the next few months. I feel as though this card, even though it's usually about, come to the edge and the angels push us, and they are pushing us into the new, they're trying to show us the signs to get to where we need to be individually and collectively. I actually feel in this instance with these other cards that it's really saying, what if you tried to jump off into a new energy that you haven't yet experienced? And that new energy is it's less about judgment, and it's more about observing, reflecting, going inward. I know many of you already do this, but there's a lot that maybe don't do it consistently enough. So that's something that we're all being asked to consider. And I'm also really getting a strong message that those that are really fixated on the dramas that are over there, or what this person's doing, what this person said, and investing so much energy into that and coming back at them and all of that, it's as though there's a neglect that's happening in terms of some of the basic needs that need to happen within your own life. Your own house, your own backyard, your own body, what you're feeding it, what you are doing in terms of exercise, whatever, all of it, work, what's being neglected. So through all of this maelstrom, we're being asked to chop wood, carry water, to keep carrying on and to go the distance. So I hope that you found that useful today. I'm going to end with Archangel Sandalphon, and we're going to put down our anchor. And I'd like you to imagine that you're in this little boat, you're bobbing around in it, that the sea might become a little bit choppy over the coming weeks and months, but within this boat that you are safe. And just put down that anchor, but allow the boat to be able to move where it needs to move with the anchor in place. And then now see yourself with the roots coming down through the soles of your feet, feeling the big platform of safety and security underneath you, your Earth Star chakra, and thanking Archangel Sandalphon for also being here to remind us of the beauty of softness, gentleness, and grace. Take great care of yourselves. I'll see you all again soon. Thank you very much for your support. Please like and share this video, and also check that you're still subscribed. I'm getting a lot of emails in from people saying that they've been unsubscribed. So I know it happens from time to time on various channels, and I seem to be the one that it's happening to at the moment. Thank you. Lots of love. Take care. Have a good week. Bye-bye for now. Bye.